Honoring Black History, sponsored by Excelis Blue Cross Blue Shield and your local Toyota dealers. This is a special presentation from News Channel 9, WSYR Syracuse.
They're more than just passion projects.
I think of myself as a legacy-building Black woman leader who acts daily on a historical obligation to pave the way for future generations of Black women.
Taking a chance on themselves and starting a dialogue in places not familiar to all.
There's a lot of foods and ethnicities that get left out of the conversation when we talk about wine pairings.
From learning about the perfect sip to creating a place to support young minds and future leaders.
We really try to be a value add to the families in our community.
Embracing all senses to make it happen.
Our doors are open for anybody in the community to come together, and we just like to provide an experience like never before.
Thank you for joining us. I am Iris St. Moran. We all have things that we're passionate about. Tonight, I'm going to introduce you to Central New Yorkers who are turning those passions into their professions. And it's not just for their own benefit. They have made it their business to give back to their communities in their own special way.
Smells good.
Okay. Okay, girl. Okay. When you walk into Coco's Candles, you are greeted by the owner and founder, Yolanda Hudgens Johnson. And it's less about what you see and more about what you smell. Tell me about what we have here.
So these are our home fragrance sprays. These have been very popular. People love them because you can take the spray and you can actually spray your home, your car, your house. Pineapple sage is like one of our very popular scents.
Yolanda's storefront is fairly new, but her love for candles and skin products has been around for years.
I used to own a store a long time ago, and I started making like body butters and stuff like that back then. But again, I never actually brought it into the store, which is something that I did on my spare time at home. And during the pandemic, something made me just start talking about candles. So I just said, you know what? Why not? But I'm doing something that I love doing.
Her passion turning into a profession after a Facebook Live video, sharing her candles and other products she made as a hobby. And the rest, as they say, is her story.
The support is major, of course, and the community, because they knew me anyways from my previous business, so once they heard me come back with the Coco's Candles, they were like so supportive. They all reached out. People were just, buying and trying the products and telling other people, and from there it just like went full blast.
She began selling from her home, then going to different events with her own pop-up shops. Now the community can come to her space at 2223 South Salina Street. It's no accident she chose this section of the city to set up shop. She previously owned Hot Coco's Beauty Supply on South Salina Street, but she also
grew up right off of South Salina Street, so I've always had my business right here in the center of the South Side.
So how far away did you grow up from where your business is right now?
Literally maybe about 4 blocks.
It just made sense for her to be here. And she has a scent for almost anyone's taste while avoiding harsh chemicals.
So this is a body balm, like a lotion type of thing that you would rub on your skin after you use the body scrub.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where do you get the inspiration to come up with the fragrance and then the name?
Yeah, so I like to play around like I'm like a mad scientist when I'm in the lab, to be honest with you. And then as I make the products, I'm like, this, could be something like like a she shed. It smells like I would want my woman area of the house to smell like this, and I kind of make something up. And sometimes my sister helps me out with the names too, I gotta admit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you might be wondering why she chose the name Coco for her business venture.
So Coco that's my daughter's name. People think I'm Coco. They call us all Coco. They call me, my daughter, and my granddaughter Coco for whatever reason. But the business was initially named after my daughter, my only daughter, Coco.
Her work's inspiration is a family affair.
So I do have a son, Walter, and he's like, okay, what are you gonna name after me? So we're gonna be bringing in a line of some products after Walter, too.
Okay.
Our doors are open for anybody in the community to come together, and we just like to provide an experience like never before. When you come here, just know you're not gonna have your ordinary candle making class. I mean, we turn up and we have a great time. All good vibes in Coco's Candles.
How do I look?
Cute. I look cute? I look cute? Okay.
I, of course, had to see for myself. Yolanda gave me a one-on-one candle making lesson. It's fun, but during the workshops, she goes over the steps, including what we need to stay safe.
Once you turn that glass upside down, we're gonna put our warning sticker on. I've advised people to keep your candle when it's lit, to keep it away from pets and kids. We're gonna take that warning sticker.
Safety first.
Safety first.
Now the candle making can begin. Yolanda pours some hot wax for me, and then the fun part, picking our scents.
Oh my God, pineapple is really nice.
I love pineapple.
Pineapple's beautiful.
This is gonna be good, girl.
It is, it is, it is.
We give that a stir.
You can start to smell the different aroma with the hot wax. Starting to smell amazing in here.
Combine it with the hot wax and then choose our colors.
Usually we have like maybe about 60 different colors that you can pick from and be creative with.
Next, everything goes into our vessel to make our custom candle creation.
And we let it sit for a while, and then usually during a regular workshop, that's when we start to dance and have all fun and stuff like that. So that's when we have a good time. Yeah. And then we come back and we cut the wicks. So congratulations on your candle.
Okay, I feel like a pro now.
You are.
You're a great teacher.
Awesome.
Yes. Like Yolanda said, it's no ordinary candle making class. Her doors are open for you to shop or to host your own event. And if you're thinking about starting your own business, her advice is to do your homework and to stay ready.
When I really recognized how Black women weren't embedded in America's history, I started really looking to Black women as models of leadership.
Coming up, an Auburn woman living her wildest dreams, helping others chase theirs. Some people are natural-born leaders. For others, it takes some nurturing. For Gwen Weber-McLeod, it was a quality instilled in her at an early age. It's her life's work to show others, and Black women in particular, how to lean in to leadership.
I think of myself as a legacy-building Black woman leader who acts daily on a historical obligation to pave the way for future generations of Black women.
Meet Gwen Weber-McLeod, a proud mother, grandmother, wife, and president and CEO of Gwen Inc. It's become her business to guide others on their leadership journeys.
Helping leaders achieve their business goals by focusing on the competencies of confidence, competence, courage, and calm. And a lot of times when I tell people that, they give me the eye roll, like, are we about to have an Oprah moment? And I'm like, no, because strategically, everything rises and falls on leadership. Someone who's willing to be self-aware, someone who engages in the practice of self-reflection, somebody who's confident in themselves, confident in the company's mission, confident in their team.
You show others how to be leaders. Who first showed you?
You know, I think the first leaders that I really paid attention to are my parents.
Growing up in a military family, Gwen has lived all around the world.
My father entered the military as an officer in a segregated army.
He was stationed in Germany at one time, and that's where Gwen was born.
If you look at my birth certificate, the only things in English on my birth certificate are my name, my parents' name, and Negro.
Her father was eventually stationed at Camp Drum and was part of the team to transition it to Fort Drum. Throughout her life, her parents convinced her and her sisters that they could be anything.
One time my mom said, well, what do you want to be when you go? They call me Gwenny. Gwenny, what do you want to be? And I said, well, Mom, you know, you're a teacher. And she says, well, you know, you don't have to be a teacher. I said, well, what else? She says, well, you know, you could be an astronaut. I was like, really? Now, then as I get older, she goes, you know, I was lying to you. Because no Black woman, no Black person or a woman could have been an astronaut in America at that time.
That kind of support and encouragement set Gwen on a path to be bold in all her pursuits. Her first job out of college was Planned Parenthood in Jefferson County. She was then recruited to run programs in a family planning center in Auburn in 1981. She's been here ever since. Her husband is from here. They raise their children here. Auburn has special meaning because of another strong woman leader who made it her home.
Being aware that Harriet Tubman lived here was really important to me. I can honestly say there have been times where I've wanted to move away from Auburn, and I always feel this pull, like from her. I feel like I have a responsibility to live and lead and do my work in her hometown.
She was intentional in choosing the Equal Rights Heritage Center in Auburn as our meeting place.
So this is one of my favorite spaces here. I come here and look at these folks who are all people who were involved in movements for equity and equality. And it just reminds me that in the same way that sometimes I feel so isolated, every single one of them felt that way too.
While she worked for many nonprofit organizations in the area, the impetus to start her own business came from difficult times in her life.
My daughter had cancer, my father got cancer, my very best friend from college is one of the firefighters killed in the World Trade Center. It just went on and on and on, and it culminated with the death of my younger sister from cardiac arrest. And in the middle of that darkness, I had another fleeting thought, like, you know what if I'm under this pressure to show that I can be great?
That's how Gwen Inc. was birthed. She also created a nonprofit that was initially a conference called You Can't Fail, with the tagline, "Because your history says you can't," to help emerging women leaders.
I'm in the legacy building years of my career.
She recently wrote a book sharing her leadership expertise.
As you just work your way through, eventually you get to the section where we're saying, so what do you want to be, right? What do you want to do? And there's like a plan that you can use to work through that for yourself.
Gwen said she's living her wildest dreams. Now she's focusing on deepening, refreshing, and amplifying her impact. She's planning a book tour and is even considering hosting her own podcast.
Yeah, like where we are, right?
A program stemming from a passion for teaching and filling a much-needed void on Syracuse's South Side. Almost every industry has had or is currently experiencing workforce shortages. One contributing factor is limited childcare options. Joshua Olatunde is working to address the daycare desert. He's passionate about providing access to education and literacy programs.
This is where all the literacy happens.
Joshua Olatunde shows us around the set of his YouTube series, Mr. Josh's Cool School, which he launched in 2019.
Hey kids, it's me, Mr. Josh.
My team and I wanted to have a place where teachers could access content that supported the Common Core standards that they were mandated to learn.
The crowd counts down, the rockets blast.
Mr. Josh is just a character. Well, it's not, he's me, right? And so he's an adult who really loves the process of learning. I love for kids to have the energy about it. You know, I get super energetic and super passionate about this because this means everything. You know, the character Mr. Josh really was designed to get kids to be excited about learning.
Yeah, like where we are, right?
Mr. Josh's Cool School is recorded in the same space as Olatunde's Cool Kids Daycare Center and after-school program. It's in what's considered a daycare desert, a void he's passionate about filling.
Well, it means everything to me because my mom was one of those parents if I went back to the early 1980s. And so the one thing that I know that she really wished that she had was a mainstay, right? A place that she knew that she could count on.
He says what sets them apart is they are able to provide transportation to and from schools in the area to help parents. They also serve children between the ages of 3 and 12 with the goal to expand that age range to serve even younger children. And their hours.
We're open just about 13 hours Monday through Friday per day. And so hopefully that does give our parents an opportunity to work their full shift and not have to worry about how they're going to finagle trying to pick their kids up and take a break and that sort of thing.
Cool Kids is located on Midland Avenue on Syracuse's South Side. Olatunde was intentional about the location to address the needs of this community. The South Side of Syracuse reminds him in some ways of where he grew up on the South Side of Chicago.
Especially from an economic level, a lot of folks who are genuinely trying to work hard to move themselves and their families up to whatever that next place is for them. And those are the direct parallels that I noticed.
He got his start in education in the Bronx in the 90s, coming up with educational programs. He also taught physics at UCLA, which amplified his interest in teaching younger students.
I saw how many kids from places like I came from never ended up at your top 25 university. But I knew them when they were 4 and 5 years old. So I knew how brilliant they actually were, and I noticed there was this huge gap of their self-belief, self-confidence, emotional traumas, academic, right, the opportunities that they had or didn't have, and that for me became sort of the green light to sort of move and to go and try to reach them in any way that I can.
But that's not what brought him to Syracuse.
I had a company in Minnesota and in Phoenix, Arizona, and we worked heavily with workforce development and really training youth to go into the nuclear sector. And since I had worked in training for so long, Amazon kind of came out and said, you know, what are your thoughts on being able to train folks to work in logistics in Syracuse? And I said, okay.
What started as a business opportunity has evolved into an even bigger investment, our children.
So this is our, it's a very, we call it a small but mighty STEM space. And so the idea is that we don't want for kids to be inundated with school after school, but it's almost the educational entertainment space. And so the most comes, they send their traveling educators here once a month, and they put on 45-minute presentations for the kids.
The kids that come here and those he reaches virtually are getting a well-rounded education, in addition to what they're learning in school and at home. And Mr. Josh, of course, ensures all of it is cool.
But did you know that reading has lots of cool benefits? It helps your brain grow. It also helps spark your imagination so that you become a creative thinker.
I think that a lot of young people, or even older people, we all get caught up in the peer pressures of what we think that we should be so that we're accepted. And oftentimes it deviates from who we really are. You know, it doesn't really matter who you are, where you're from. We were all sort of put here as a unique being, and that's what being cool is. It's finding out who that person is and then working every day to be that person.
If you're a parent wanting to learn more about this daycare center, Olatunde encourages you to reach out. And you can always attend Mr. Josh's Cool School by visiting his YouTube channel.
We're trying to build the knowledge about wine, you'll say one professional room at a time, one conference at a time.
A career pairing well with her love for world travel. How this sommelier came to settle in Syracuse. Some of your most memorable experiences might have been shared over a delicious dinner paired with the perfect glass of wine. There's a lot of detail that goes into making that pairing. Cha McCoy is a certified sommelier, and she is sharing her love, knowledge, and travel experience around wine in Syracuse. When you walk into the communion, there are many wine varieties to choose from on the wall. But these bottles aren't just for sale. They've become a work of art for owner Cha McCoy.
This is the interesting part about the shop is because there's no like Pinot Noir section, you know, so we get to be a little bit more creative.
And when you ask the certified sommelier if she has a favorite,
no, sorry, I have too many babies to sell. I can't have a favorite. As someone in the industry, our favorite answer is whatever wine is in my glass. At the end of the day, it really is about the mood, who I'm actually sharing the wine with.
And she has made it her mission to share wine and to create an experience for anyone who sets foot inside the communion. Before opening up shop in Syracuse,
So the communion started as a wine dinner pop-up in my Harlem apartment back in 2017. So I was fixated on how do I get the world to know about all the beautiful wines that I'm able to, you know, that I'm geeked out about, but I was able to travel and get this information.
she traveled around the world, sharing this love with a plan to open the communion in Portugal, where she was living. And then the pandemic forced her to
Pivot was the key word, and I couldn't open up in Portugal alone with so many unknowns at that time. So I said I got to find another wine region that I can still be able to connect to and have that same experience.
Back in the States, closer to her family in Harlem, the Salt City paired well with her vision.
Upstate New York is one of the best places for learning. The Finger Lakes wine region is 45 minutes away, and there's a lot of accessibility to understanding cool climate wine regions that you can do right here in my home state.
Opening a business in Syracuse was a homecoming of sorts. Cha graduated from SU, where she studied civil engineering. While it might not seem like these two worlds are connected,
in civil engineering, that is what we did. That's what we build train stations and transportation, bus routes, etc. And recognizing in wine world, farmlands for grapes are not usually downtown somewhere. They're usually in the further distant areas. And so there need to be someone or something that's bridging the gap between the people in the urban areas to come out to these areas to support for economic development.
She considers what she does now social engineering.
Connecting areas or people to, maybe step outside of the bustling city life and, hashtag soft life.
Her love for wine kind of happened by chance while getting her MBA in Italy and being immersed in the culture there.
In order to become Italian or live Italian, you're gonna have wine probably as early as 10 a.m., starting with a light white, all the way down to having a more full body red for the evening. So that is normal Italian living. And so my love for that lifestyle is actually what brought me to wine.
Now she's bringing the wine and her passion here.
Thank you. Here we are.
Yes.
In a space she engineered.
But I wanted to be able to have on display the wine bottles, not by region or not by grape, but also a way for people to connect with the labels and really just what everyone's calling them. I really feel like that's something. Some people are passionate about certain colors or certain art, and they tell me the story about this one, having the price be easily accessible for people to look at too. It's not a mystery.
Whether you're well-versed in wine or just getting started. You were asking me, I'm like, I have no idea.
But we love that the shop is for explorers. That's the main thing. I want you to leave with a beverage experience from us, but I also want you to have one at home.
I hope these business owners have inspired you to pursue your passions further. They've certainly showed us how taking a chance on yourself can benefit an entire community. On behalf of all of us here at News Channel 9, I am Iris St. Moran. Thank you for watching.